welcome to another episode of Talking with Kevin and Son, featuring people you should know. Hi, I'm Kevin McLemore. I am your show host. I'm a four-time published author, speaker, and what my friends call me, the Mindset Messenger. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Through the power of our stories, our mission is to uplift through your voice. We want to inspire you, share stories and experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is very simple. It's hope, HOPE, helping other people every day. I'm going to pause for a little bit and let you think. Whatever your objective is today, successful people create a framework around their day-to-day lives that not only enhance theirs, but many times, like my guest today, they pour into others. This podcast will reveal the secrets of a highly effective life as to how to survive a failed marriage, moving from the Arctic Circle to a country where my guest didn't speak any English, to living the American dream. For better words, she is changing the narrative of empowering females and the view. She starts from the top. Today's guest, she will step out of her own comfort zone and talk about survival, domestic violence, and how thriving as a female entrepreneur. My guest is an emotional game changer by my point of view. She is a social media strategist, a mentor, a coach, three-time international best-selling author. She is a speaker, and mostly, she is not only the example she wants her kids to see, but she is a living example for what the world should strive to be. She will share with you how to take small steps that lead to big outcomes. This guest has a story that needs to be told. This show is all about facing hard times and changes head on, putting your health and finances in line. So if you stay around long enough, maybe our guest will share with you some of her secrets, her doable steps that will inspire you to transform your world and maybe give you some tips on how to scale your business going through social media just by posting your daily life. Our guest is relatable. She's a powerhouse speaker. Again, she's the gatekeeper and an effective tips on life itself, captivating audience around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you, Miss Ilona Seddik, to the show. How you doing?
Yay. Thank you so much, Kevin. I I was so impressed by my own introduction. By you, it sounds uh, almost surreal for me now. I've never ever brought up myself like this, and you made it so fascinating that I'm like, okay, I'm that girl.
Well,
So thank you so much.
believe it or not, through our first introduction, I was thoroughly impressed by you. And when I say that this show is all about people we should know, a lot of times people like yourself, your story goes untold, but you have a story that will change many people's lives. And that's the reason why I have you on here. And I basically summarize your resume. You have so many other things that you have done, you've accomplished. Um, it had taken me 12 minutes to go ahead and read your bio if I were to go step by step of everything you've done. If you want to go ahead and do it, I'm fine with that. But I want my guests, both male and female, even though we're talking about empowerment. And I think next month, October is Domestic Violence Month or something like that.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, and if you do, you're fine. But I would like the people to get to know you before we talk about the strategies of how to market and how to navigate with social media and how you became so successful. And maybe we'll, ask a couple of questions about your children too. Talk
Yeah,
about the great
sure.
life or whatever. All right, we'll pull back the layers to this onion, and we'll start. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, from where to start. I always, when I work with my clients, I teach them when you face these questions, starts from the beginning or from the middle of the most interesting story that you have. Um, I would love to start with the most interesting story that I have that uh, happens to be in the beginning of my life itself. It's living near the Arctic Circle, Arctic Pole. This is now I'm looking back to my childhood, and I really value how much things I learned there from people that I live around, and from even environment, nature itself. It taught me a lot about life itself, how to navigate this life, how to communicate with people. And from, that living in a cold weather, it can impact you in so many ways. The first impact, it's very direct. So if it was extreme cold weather, so whether you're outside, if you if something happened to you, you fell, you, I don't know, injured, or your car is just broken in the middle of the road, if nobody helps you, you will die. And it's matter of hours, not even days or weeks. It's for sure. That is why people there, they are very supportive of each other. So they are not leave someone in the street. They not go just walk by, and they always try to help. They always for each other. They really there for each other. That's what I learned from there. It's like build up my personality in the very, I suppose, right way. Uh, how I manage myself and how I mm, conduct my behavior now with my kids, with my community, in my professional field. Help each other, support. That this is what actually help us to thrive. Domestic violence, for example, that I went through, I can speak personally from that experience. I found that this is the only way that we can eliminate this thing. It's not from outside, it's from inside, when we will be kind to each other.
All right. So, for most people, I've never been to the Arctic Circle. When I first read your bio, and I thought about it, I said, "Oh, she must really be from Cleveland." I haven't met anyone from the Arctic Circle that lived that. But listening to you, with your share, you're talking about resilience, surviving life-threatening cold, but functioning as life itself. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I do know that our climate and Earth is changing rapidly, just because of how we live in our day-to-day lives now, the things that we do, and how our daily lives affect the environment. And I say this all the time. People don't realize that as much as we want to live for profit, humanity must survive. But if the earth dies, no matter how wealthy or how successful you are, we follow suit. You had left your homeland and you came to America. Now, this is probably not the Eddie Murphy version of it, coming to America.
I love
Um,
this movie, by the way.
so, leaving the Arctic Circle, you decided to come to America. Why? And now you're living the American dream. But for life to be easy for anyone, especially someone at your level, you had to overcome some struggles. Um, what did you struggle with when you landed here in America? What were the first things you had to face?
Um, First, it's people.
Okay.
People are so different from everything that I experienced before. And I experienced a lot. So I lived in northern Siberia. It's Yakutia region in Russia. I'm from Russia.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Latvia. Let's say I was born in Latvia, in Riga. Then I moved to Russia, in North Siberia, Yakutia. Then I moved throughout the country several times, ended up in Moscow. So I met a lot of people in my life, a lot with different cultural backgrounds, with different views, experiences. And it's really very diverse experience. My husband, he's from Tunisia. He's an Arab man, and before we moved here, we moved as a family. So um, I was I was experienced a lot of cultures, cultural backgrounds, people, but here it's nothing that I can expect. It's I got myself back the days. I look in the mirror of my apartment and see people. Like I see people with the two hands, two legs, like the same. It's like the same people, but I'm not living like in another universe because culturally it's so drastically different from everything that I experienced before. And this cultural difference, this is the huge gap that I had to close to really enter the society. It's not even language. I didn't speak English, but for me, cultural difference was the huge, enormous one. And to add an additional layer to this, when I in my childhood, when I was in North Siberia, it was just at the time when Soviet Union fell, and so it's open gates for everything American, European to the Soviet Union because it was very close country. So
Mhm.
everything just flow at us, just every single thing. And I was raised not in a necessarily Russian culture itself, but more American way. So everything that you know from 90s, I love it. I love all Backstreet Boys and seeing rappers, Tupac, Eminem, uh, movies, Beethoven, Home Alone. This is what I'm was raised on. This is my cultural background, and it was so funny for me that in the right time, in the right place, I kind of unpack all this experience, and thanks to this childhood experience, I could close this gap because I really start to understand people around me, although they were so different from me. But I, thanks to my husband already, I learned the most valuable thing that another culture, it's not an enemy. Stranger doesn't mean danger. Stranger, it's just another person. You need to know this person, and then you decide whether it's for you or not for you. So, with this mindset, with these tools that I had, with my very strong passion to connect with people, I start slowly but surely closing this gap. And I
I
found
liked the
my
way I liked the way you preface that because one of the things that when you were talking about um, leaving your homeland in the Arctic to come into America, and you said that there was so much vibrance and difference in culture. There's a class system in every culture, and I know how hard it was to move from New York into Pennsylvania and having people that lived here their whole life being accepted into the community. Um, you coming to America, not speaking the language, especially with a husband and is it three kids? Am I correct?
too, too.
Two kids. All right. Um, how welcome did your community embrace you?
I found it's quite welcoming. Um Although you know, I always find answers not from outside, but from inside, within me. If
Mhm.
I face some difficulties or struggle with something, it's not they are bad people. They do not understand me. What I wanted to say, for example, when I just enter community,
Mhm.
it's about me. Maybe I should learn more about these people. So when I start to communicate, I really deliver what I meant. Because I, as a linguist, I had a degree already in the linguistic, in Russian language and literature. I know that language, it's not about naming things. It's culturally spice the whole environment around us. Language is a culture. So I need to enter the culture itself and to learn more about people. If they're not welcoming, why? Why do I feel not welcomed? Maybe I did something that in their eyes it's not acceptable, or maybe in this case, it's about them. They're not accepting me. For example, I face at some point of my life here, when people see me, and then when they start to communicate with me in a very friendly way, and then I start to open my mouth and talk, they hear accent and they like, oh, you're not white. You're not completely white. It's um
Hey, I get that all the time. It's
it's
as soon as they meet me, they hear me on the phone and we talk, and once they meet me, they say the same thing to me. Exactly.
you see, you understand what I mean. And
I totally understand. But this is the question I've always wanted to ask.
mhm,
I have friends
mhm.
that have come from other countries, literally come to America with just the clothes in their back. I don't know if you came to America with a family dowry, or your husband had a very successful job, or you had a very successful job. I want to make sure I cover all the bases. But there are people here. One, we question the work ethic. I hear my friends talk about Gen Zs, people don't want to work and everything else. Um, we talk about people valuing finance over humanity. How is it that, at least in my circle of friends, how you can leave one country with little to nothing in your suitcase and come over here and thrive? Give me some idea so we can paint a picture. So when we move into how you became this media person, and how you are empowering women through the power of your story, because people live here, and this is supposed to be the land of opportunity, and people are struggling. How is it that you come here and you're
um,
thriving?
it's a magnificent question. It's not even good question. It's a magnificent question. This is the reason I'm here. Um, it's not because I wanted. I always emphasize even inside me. Um, I'm not. I was not escaping something. I was moving towards something bigger for my family. I can explain. So back in Russia, I had a law degree. I'm a PhD in Russian law, focused on constitutional law of Russian Federation. I have a language degree in Russian language and literature. I established a 10-year career in the law, in the corporate law sphere. So it's in first in the it's the biggest and the most influential even now corporation in mineral fertilizers. So when I did all this, achieve all this success, I found that I stuck in a way. So this is it. This is it's gonna be for the rest of my life. There is nothing more. I do not have a lot of connections. I do not have a lot of money. I have a good job. Yes, I do. But nothing else. I I didn't feel that I have more opportunities there, that I already had everything at my level. And people said that you're so successful, you live in Moscow. Because to to clarify a bit, in Russia, the best place to live, it's in Moscow. This is the best place to live on planet Earth if you're Russian. Because you have, it's not because they have a lot of money, of course, a lot of money. I mean, salaries more, they have more restaurants, beautiful buildings, but they have a good health system, schools, all that all people really want for their life. They all have it there, and almost nothing for the rest of the country. So, of course, the first thing that you think, if you're Russian, go live in Moscow. That I did already. So, this is it. Like for me, I felt this is it. And I didn't want to have these limits for my kids, because this is their path. I, it's too small. I thought it's too small for them. And when we had this opportunity, it's miraculous opportunities for us, for our family. My husband, he was applying for a job, and he was accepted here in America. And it was miracle for our family. We have 3 months to pack up all our stuff and move. We didn't have, you said about your friends that they didn't have almost nothing. Okay, we didn't have one backpack. We have three backpacks. This is it. And most of them, it was toys for kids. So we do not have to buy it here, these toys. We didn't have any financial big finances to supply us. We saved a lot. I mean, we will plan this move because you really need to plan this. If you listen to me and you want to move to America, please plan it ahead. Don't don't do this because you really need a lot of money to just to make this drastic transition in your life. But it was one time opportunity. It's yes or no. If yes, all your life will be never be the same again, as in the famous song. Life will never be the same again. Life is changing. Yes, and we moved just 3 months. We packed everything that we could take with us, and that's it. Because this is what we have here: opportunities. You're absolutely right. America is the land of opportunities, but also opportunities are not given to you. You're expected to work for these opportunities, to earn these opportunities, to really put effort to get it. This is very crucial part that everybody kind of miss out. Yes, it's a lot of opportunities, but you need to work on these opportunities. And again, to find answers inside you, not outside you. If something doesn't work for you, you can always fix it because you have control on the one person only, you, yourself. And it's enormous, enormous zone of control. All your life can be changed at once if you have control your life in your hands. This is what I did.
How did you get this mindset? Did this start as something childhood? Did someone inspire you to have this free thinking, free flowing, emotional conversation about self-worth? And the reason why I asked this is because one of my favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou. She says, "A wise woman wishes to be no one's enemy. A wise woman refuses to be anyone's victim." And listening to you as you say this, and the reason why this is one of my favorite quotes is because I have two daughters. I love women. I love the ideas right now that the opportunities, even though not level, are opening up for women for job opportunities, for education, to be independent entrepreneurs. And the other thing that I love is that women are helping other women, which you are doing, and we'll get to that in a couple minutes. When you hear this quote, when I say a wise woman wishes to be no one's enemy, Maya Angelou, a wise woman refuses to be anyone's victim. You probably have quotes. How does that land on you?
Um, it's inspiring. And you asked me how I come with these ideas, with
Yes.
this mindset. It was earned. It was life experience. Nobody taught me these things, unfortunately, because maybe in this case I could avoid a lot of pain in my life if I just enter this mindset just from the beginning, from my childhood. But it is what it is. I was heavily bullied at school because I was living in a bigger body. So in Russia, like, I mean, it's like all over the world. If you're something different from other kids, you're a target. And I was clearly a target. And I didn't handle it well because all environment was like they just playing. I start to like I try to come up with like this is not right because I believe that kids always know that what is right, what is wrong, and you naturally feel that it's not right, and you start to come up to grown-ups, to teachers mainly, and they just playing, and that's what I learned how to be a victim. They just playing. and I start to kind of digest it. That leads me to my domestic violence experience, because I always felt like this is what I deserve. This is how it should be. This is my life. And but at the same time, I always search for examples of opposite. Like I notice people and women mainly that were successful, they were happy, free in a sense, and I always wondering like I want to be that women. And it's not about I mean some popular singers or artists. They absolutely inspiring, but for me it was so like so unreachable, so unrelatable that I could not even compare myself to them. So it's mainly from my surroundings, from people from university, for example, some teachers there that really inspire me. It can be just my neighbor, just because she's so strong and she's survivor, single mom, and she did it by everything by herself. She's magnificent. And little by little, I start to evidently understand that it should not be like this. And when I experience almost nearly death experience with domestic violence, it's I escaped, but it was like a last straw that I needed to understand that next time you will be dead. I heard it and I feel it loud and clear. From that point, I start to reach out to other women because I always search for these examples. And I was always fascinating or surprised by the fact that when I come up in the any company, I mean, in the university, when I was at school with girls, there's some sanctuary moment in a woman's life. It's bathrooms. When we're in bathrooms, we can share all possible stuff with each other. Girls will understand me. And I was also always wondering, why do they come to me like exactly with all these stories like to me? I have something on my forehead or whatever. Why me? Why not everybody else, just me? And I'm coming out from these bathrooms after this all these stories. I'm like, wow, why me? And this is what my answer was later on when I started to reach out for other women. I accumulate enough stories to understand that it's not true. And when you start to help others, you heal yourself. This
Now,
is what I started to do.
this is fascinating to me because in my head, the wheels are turning, and now you just answered the ultimate question: why every time we go out to dinner with family and friends, all the women go, men go to the bathroom solo, women go to the bathroom in groups. Everyone has to go. But I also know that, I don't want to go deep into
Mhm.
your story because everyone likes to see an accident, but no one ever stops by the help. You're a different type of individual. So we have a lot of young women that are coming into this world that social media um, has been not a good thing for young people. It's image driven. I have a friend that has over almost 1 million people that follows her. She's young and she's always in her bikini and everything else. And we always talk to her. It's said, what are you trying to say? Who is really following you? How are you going to convert this over? We have people. I just watched a documentary with Shaquille O'Neal talking about the money games, and one of the young ladies were trying to figure out why everyone else was getting these NIL deals, name, image, and likeness deals, financing, and she was an Olympic athlete. And she was looking at herself. She's one of the top athletes in the world. She looks in the mirror. She doesn't see how beautiful she is.
Mm.
When you talk about bullies, A lot of times we hear the noise from the outside. And like you said, that you accepted being a victim. If I were to have a key that would unlock that door to allow young women to see the other side of that door, can you walk me through the process of how to go from victim to hero or shero? Because I want to help our young sisters and older sisters across the world, no matter what your skin color is, no matter how you identify. I want to help these young ladies.
I would start as I did. I start with the searching for examples that relatable to you. Normal people around you, even on social media, go search for not these glamorous, fancy influencers, but people who share their stories. People who experienced this firsthand. We have a lot of these stories now, thankfully. Thankfully, people start to share, women start to share, and it's absolutely valuable. It's enormous. It has enormous impact on all our society, that we can see the things from lenses from the victim. Because the second step, what I would suggest, it may sound controversial, but you need to accept that you are a victim. Now you are a victim. You're not survivor yet, because there is a gap between victim and survivor. So you need to close this gap. It's another mindset. Survivor thinks that when what things that she overcomes made a positive impact on her life. She can turn this pain into something good. But victim always like almost eat this pain and enjoy this pain. Pain for pain. You need to learn how to convert this pain into something good for others. But you cannot do this unless you grieve that you are a victim right now. If you have these thoughts, why me? Why not others? Why people don't help me? When you blame others for what happened with you, you're partially absolutely right. That person could, they had no right to do this with you. Like remotely, I do not want um, to blame victim. Not in a bit, but this transition, empowering transition, it's actually in your hands. Again, this is beauty here. You have this ability to turn things around. You, only you. If you're safe, I always say you need to be safe. You need to have safety around you. This is for victims, they understand me. Safety is the first thing that you miss always. You need to be safe. If you're now in the environment that is not safe for you, please go. Find safe environment. I work now as a social media strategist for Shelter House, for our local shelter house, for domestic violence victims and homeless people. The first thing I suggest, safety. From safety point of view, you're able to turn things around. You're able to grieve that what happened to you, and then turn it into something bigger. Find the reason, bigger reason, why it's happening with you. For what? Not why, for what? There is something bigger, brighter, more interesting ahead of you. You've been through so much. It's transformative experience. Try to think outside this mentality, blaming others, and just feel sorry for yourself. You need this time to grieve and to feel sorry, but you have a lot of time to move forward from this.
Right. And this will apply to both men and women, both young and old. I mean, if I'm hearing you correct, Invictus says be the captain of your own ship. In my day-to-day life, I say be the author of your story. Every story that has a happy ending had a rough beginning, and there's no original story of any of us. The only thing that makes anything original from any of our stories is the cast, the characters, and the location. Our actions are what follows that makes the story worth telling. And you did a very good job. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to ask you before we move into talking about marketing and strategizing and social media. And you know, I'm not the best person on social media. I have a whole team that does it for me, and I get it after the fact. So I'm going to ask you, good or bad on social media. But how do people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Social media, this is the first thing you want to check out. Absolutely. I walk the talk. So it's Ilona Seddik, one line without anything in between. And you find me on all social media. I mean, the most popular one, sure, you will come across me on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, of course, Pinterest, even TikTok. So
All right.
start from
Can you
there.
All right, so we can LinkedIn. You can find her. She's on YouTube. Her information and her contact information will be in the description. If you go to RMK Productions and Network and look in the description, her information will be there. But I've also want to pay tribute because life changes in many ways, and I know for me is that I constantly talk about going barefoot. And the reason why I go barefoot, because I've got a good friend, Steven Sashin. He created a product called Zero Shoes, and he's one of my affiliate sponsors. So I need to go out and pour some love because I used to complain about, and this is about 2.5 months ago, about my knees, my ankles, and my hips hurting at the end of the day. I always thought that I was getting old and time was working against me. I was no longer, the fast athletic sprinter, even though I pretend to be that way every single day when I'm in the gym. There were aches and pains. But until Stephen taught me and says, go barefoot, try that. I understood how the design of the foot went, and I tried Zero Shoes. It took me 7 days to adapt to walking barefoot with material covering. The shoe, at first glance, didn't look quite right, but as I dressed and I dressed the shoes up, I looked good in the shoes. But at 4 o'clock on a Friday evening one day, my knees stopped hurting, my ankle stopped hurting, my hip stopped hurting. I looked down and it had to be the shoes because that's the only thing I changed. So if you want to learn a little bit more about going barefoot, go to www.zeroshoes, XERO shoes.com. And so, with that said,
Mhm.
um, I have to ask you this because we're both parents and I
Yeah.
know what happens. And I've got friends that are about to have their first child. And I told them that children will change your life. How did
Yes,
children change?
100%.
How did children change your life, even though coming to America? How did that change your life with three backpacks? Look at you.
Completely. Like completely, maybe thanks to my daughter. I have first daughter, then I have a son. Um, she she gives me so much motivation to as we last thing that we speak, it's about transition between victim and survivor. I had to learn about myself, about victim inside me, so many things, just not to transfer anything that hurting and so painful inside me to her. It was sorry.
All right. I didn't mean to trigger you. I didn't mean to trigger you. Um, and I know it's hard. I know when um, I speak on stage and I talk about grace and forgiving because my childhood wasn't perfect. Even though that people, when they read my story, they always say, how bad they feel for me, whatever. And I'm going, don't feel bad for me. If it had not been
Mhm.
for my childhood and me facing my own truth and knowing that when I turned 16, I was able to create my own story because now I got control of my life. And I always say that as a young person, as soon as you get your driver's license, that's the first time you start making decisions independently. You go to a stoplight and you make a choice, either run through it or whatever.
Mhm.
And when they talk about chance and choices, that's when things start to get real. And when you look at your life going forward, you can either choose to tell the story that was told to you and repeat the sins of your fathers, your mothers, your aunts and uncles, or you can be the narrator of a story that someone wants to tell. My grandmother always said, do something so special in life that people will stand in line and pay to hear your story. And that's the reason why you're here. I would pay $1 million to stand in line to see how you came to America with backpacks with three children, and you became this wonderful person you're in. So you have a book that's coming
Mhm.
out, and I would say I don't want to have this interview and have my guest in tears. I'm not Oprah Winfrey. I don't become happy because I made someone cry. But you have a book that's coming out, your stories in that book, and for any woman
Yes.
that has more questions than answers, if you're feeling stuck in your life and you need a shero or a hero, I would say turn to my guest, read her book, reach out to her on social media. She's on all the platforms, mainly YouTube and um,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, yeah, Instagram, whatever. I got a whole list of them over here. It's about five or six of them. You're on all of them. She has two beautiful children, and she probably has names for all of them, unless in Siberia they don't name their children. They just kind of recognize I have children. But I'm torn between, and I'll
Mhm.
say this, and I hope no one's offended, but I go to my health club, and there's seven benches on there, six out of the seven benches that are being there. People are coming there to work out to get a healthy way of life, but they sit there for 20 minutes looking at scrolling through their phones. Is social media good or bad? And I know you make your living, so we're going to go into um, defining and navigating social media in order for it to have purpose and power versus it being a distraction towards the reality of life. So if you could educate me on social media.
Um, I have the same mindset for social media as for everything in my life. You have control over your account. It's in your power to change social media. We all hear social media is a problem. We all know this. But maybe you are the solution because I believe someone's problem, it's my solution. So if you want to change social media and turn it from just a rabbit hole of everything at the same time, from bikini till different type of things, you can be this change. You can bring this change. I even encourage you to bring this change into social media world because my concept and mindset and approach in this authentic marketing, I wrote a whole book about this, and for people, for ordinary people with they 9 to 5 jobs, they when they think that I do not have anything to suggest, or it's just I'm just a normal person. You see all these social media influencers, they gifted in some way. Maybe not. I If I hear this talk, I said you should be on social media. Because if you think that you should not be on social media, think that you are the first person that should be there because you have life experience, you have valuable level of empathy, you have stories, you have real knowledge that you can share with the world. And I do not care about what you will say because I know that you will say about real stuff, real stories, and these can change surface of all of our social media. And the second step I would suggest is to stop following and nurturing the content that you hate. Unfollow them, put them in the ban, do whatever. Just make
You
it
mean
clear for
you mean not to follow all this negative, that's hate mongering, all the stuff that's going on. That's not growing you at another level, on the cognitive level. That's not helping you grow. All that negative stuff on there, all the you know,
Can you
stuff
imagine?
stuff that needs to be censored. That's not helping you.
In a
Oh,
bit. So, and
oh,
as a social media specialist, I would say that it will trigger algorithm in the very good way. So it says, because I work on the level of algorithms, so it will give the clear message. So this amount of followers, they do not like this content. So this content should be hide. So it starts to hide content from people because people dislike this content. They stop interacting with this content. So we all can change social media surface because it's in our hands, literally your phone, it's in your hands. You can click buttons on your own. You can choose what buttons to click and what you can follow, unfollow. If something triggering you, this I encourage you, please do not comment on this because they want you to comment on this hate bait content. You see some weird stuff that they do with their bodies or with their food or whatever. Stop commenting that they're foolish. They wanted to have these comments. They
but
they live for these comments.
but
Don't do this.
that is so hard to do. You ever see someone literally lose their mind when they can't find their phone? Now, I'm going to ask you a
Yeah.
question. What changed my mind about social media? I read a book called Hooked. The
Mhm.
young man that wrote the book. Have you read that book?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, he basically instrumented and taught everyone how to market to everyday people like you and I. So we walk around all day long. We never see roses anymore. We never look up at the stars. We can't even walk across the street without looking down and scrolling our social media. We can't drive a
Yeah,
car. You know,
yeah.
you go to a restaurant and you got two beautiful people that should be talking to each other and they're checking their social media page.
It's
You know,
nightmare. For me, it's nightmare.
and I suggest to everyone that owns a phone that is listening to this to read that book. I get nothing from this. It's called Hooked. And then it's
Mhm.
another book called To Be Unhooked. And it will show you how you've been programmed to be a consumer for the rest of your life. Now,
Yeah.
you're going to tell us how to be an entrepreneur by using um, what I would say good and evil and good to
Mhm.
be to your advance. Because I hope at some point that you look at mine and see if I'm doing anything right.
Oh, you do everything right, so don't worry. We can spice up some things, and I'm
Well, I
sure.
hope you can. I hope you can help me because I always say I'm building a plane by offline because I have built my following totally against what every marketing strategist has said. They said, my customer couldn't be everyone, and I go, why not? Field of Dreams built a baseball field in a cornfield, and people come to see it, and they said they wouldn't come. And Sheila's Joe Jackson built it, and they would come. So now you're going to show me, and tell our listeners your marketing strategies for building a great life using social media to change your life. So walk us through the steps.
Okay. I'm glad to. First thing that I clearly understand, and I want to admit that it's overwhelming. This thing, it's too much. This is too much to handle. When they say that you should be there, you're like, oh my gosh, from where even to start? Because it's so much things I need to learn, apparently, to be successful there. I love to simplify things and make it digestible for you because I know that you are not specialist, you're not a marketer, you're not trained to be one. This is the beautiful thing. So you always start with your life, yourself, and your audience. What message you want to send to them? Because social media, it's always about dialogue. You choose one person at a time to talk to and listen to yourself what you want to say this person one step at a time, not all things at once that you have achieved and experienced in your life, but one thing at a time. You have for short form content just 60 seconds, just long-term content, 3, 10 minutes. So something digestible for them, what you want to share with them. When you start to with questions, what I want and what I can suggest to them, you kind of meet each other in the middle and you start conversation. And please do not ever expect that people should come to you first and then, because people normally say, but nobody will, I do not have big following, but they will never ever come to you. They just do not know that you exist. They do not, they do not understand that they have can help from you unless you start first and be consistent in this, because you want to help these people. Because if you think that I want to earn XYZ amount of money, it's beautiful, it's good, but money is just a number. Social media doesn't work like this. Social media doesn't work with numbers. Accountant, he works with numbers. Maybe you should be the one. But on social media, you work with people. If you do not want to interact with people or help people, just don't be there. Maybe it's not the right place for you. But if you have this passion, if you have something to share with people, with real human beings, consider them as real human beings. Because what I see now, that people evaluate these numbers on social media in the very weird way. So I have just, I don't know, 120 followers. I'm like, okay, just imagine these 120 people sitting in front of you, and not just sitting, they are your followers, subscribers, so they are ready to listen to you. It was a random crowd of people, and they suddenly see you, I don't know, dancing or talking about something, and they're like, oh, it's interesting, and they found their place in front of you, and they're ready to listen to you. The eyes on you, because they're your subscribers, your followers. They're ready to listen to you. Is it so small amount of people? No. We found ourselves when we evaluate this as a human beings, not as a numbers, as a human beings, because at the end of the day, it's another human being holding this phone from blood and flesh. So you communicate on social media with another human being. What you want to say to them? Tell about interesting things that happened in your life. Educate them at some level. Just entertain them. You naturally gifted in stand-up comedy, maybe, or you just enjoy when people laugh around you. Just be there for these reasons. You really want to transfer wisdom and knowledge that you had in life. Do it. And there is no script, or there is no something that can stop you to do what you want to do. This is the beauty here. You decide what you want to share with the world. And when world accept this, what you want to share, from there, that point you can decide. It was good. It was reached out the right audience, not right audience. How I need to redirect my message, in what way. So this data can help you to move forward and be more successful. But initial step, it's what I want. Who are these people, human beings from the other side, and how we can connect with each other. So what message? And just test, and test. That's it.
Let me ask you this, okay? Because I'm failing every test when it comes to social media. So I'm definitely going to need your help. Um, I know when I speak, I hate one being called an influencer, because I don't think anyone could be influenced unless you want to make a change. The other, I don't believe in motivational speakers, because if you are motivated, you're going to be motivated. Nothing I'm going to say is going to inspire you to do anything more than what you have been doing, unless you're ready to do something different. And we've all got to be in that space. Um, Early on, people were making millions of dollars. thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they had 500,000 people, a million followers, or whatever. But now the conversation is turning over to conversion. You know, if you've got a
Yes.
million followers, do you have a million followers that will buy a product? I teach people, and you tell me it's wrong, because if you have 500 customers, I can teach you how to make $1 million with 500 customers. You don't need that. And I talk about brands when you are in going back to the money games, you have people that have 500 followers or whatever, and brands are paying them, thousands of dollars for every time, they do a post. But it doesn't guarantee that they're going to buy a shoe when there's over, 10,000 different shoe companies out there making the same shoe for 2 feet.
Mhm.
Um, is this just a money game when it comes to influencers? Or what should social media really be? What's the truth about social media?
Nowadays, we really direct with the influencer. We talk about influencers marketing. Um, Influencers marketing, we start with the big names, with the big following, and it really worked. And what you said about conversion, why it worked? Because they have tight communities. It's all goes down to the tight community of people that really ready to listen to you, ready to listen to Kevin, not just because of some other things, but because of Kevin. That is why I started with what you want to say, who are these people, and you connect. So you can choose with whom you want to connect. So if these people really love this message, they are your raving fans. They are in your gang. They're your community. So conversion is not a question anymore because next time you come up and say, guys, this is the really, really shoe, not shoe, that helped me.
Mhm.
I had this pain. I experienced this pain. Now I do not have. I know that so many of my followers, of my subscribers, they experience pain on daily basis. I just want to help you. I found some very good uh, solution to my problem. I just want to share it with you. And people really love to hear this information from you. They trust you. It all goes down to trust and credibility. For these people, you are authority. You're someone that have something that they do not have: knowledge, experience, um, maybe education, or anything that people can put in their minds. So you can suggest that decision that helped you before this influencer marketing with the big crowds. It worked because these huge influencers, they have huge following and they are really into them. That is why they listen to them. And when they say that this is the best, I don't know, makeup lipstick for your lips, these girls will say, yes, I will want to buy this because this girl said to me that it's best. Now people start, they are long enough in the game, they start to understand this. It's just a paid story. They say these things about lipsticks not because it's really the best, just because they have money from this collaboration, paid collaboration we called it. So I don't trust them. What I want to hear is I want to hear from people who are very small, have a small communities, tight community as yours. And when you suggest me something, I really believe Kevin because I'm long enough with Kevin. He proves he's very bright, honest, brave person. And I really, if I have this problem that you talk about, I want to really investigate my options with you. So we kind of transition into micro influencers. So it's not a huge names, it's a small names.
I am so glad you said this, because out of all the things that you've said earlier, I'm going, I need some coaching on this. I need you on this. But I also said when I started RMK Production, I was getting a lot of advice on how to do this, how to get people to like, comment, or follow. And I said, I'm going to build this business the same way I built my business throughout my life as a personal trainer, as a speaker. I'm only going to surround myself with like-minded people. You'll hear me say this at the end of it. My friends don't drive by an accident. They stop and help. I only want people that have a high call to action. Otherwise, I don't want to get involved with you. I don't like wasting my time. I also said that when, I've been approached by people that want short-term relationships as sponsors for me to promote their product. And I'm saying if you're not giving back to the community or you're not making a difference in life, I don't want that type of relationship. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to make a difference in people's lives. So it's the first thing. Now I feel like I'm on the right track, and thank you for that. Um, I don't want to give away your whole business because I want people to reach out to you. I have a few
Mhm.
more questions, but I'm going to ask you again. How do people
Mhm.
get in touch with you? And by the way, what are your children's names? Because I think, I have two children. It's not enough because I figured they have names. What are their
Yes,
names?
absolutely. It's Salma and Yasin. It's
All right.
Arabic names. Salma, it means Salem, it means peace. So she's someone who brings peace into this world. And Yasin, it's one of the main surah in Quran. It named as Yasin. It means it's something you will be saved from so many things in this world if you have Yasin in your family.
All right. I'm glad you mentioned my name because I wanted to make sure when your kids saw this interview and they go, Mom, you didn't even say my name. You didn't say it. But I will say this, your kids are probably asking us right now, which one's your favorite? Just between you and I. I won't, I'll edit it out. Which one's your
You like,
favorite?
Kevin, you just like my son, he's the only one who is always asking this question. It's the same result. Like if you ask me you, it's you. If she asks me, it's Salma. Like
All right.
I
All right.
always have a right answer for both of you.
This is a question that in private sectors, especially in my friends, and it comes up randomly in conversations when we're talking just life in general. If you had to do one thing over, or you had a chance to do one thing over, or to go back in your life and make one wrong a right, what would you do?
Nothing,
Good, good, good. All right.
nothing, not even one single thing beats anything that because every single tiny thing leads me exactly to this place. And in this place, I'm so happy. I anticipated so much. It's coming ahead of me. I'm so excited. I'm happy. I'm blessed to live so many lives, professions, and I'm have so much more to suggest to this world.
So moments do matter, right? Right now, where you're at, that's what all that matters, right?
Yes, yes. And if you change one thing, I do believe in this butterfly effect theory. You could never ended up here. I really enjoy right now moment.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I am so glad. When I say living the dream, the dream is living life on your terms. That's the dream, not your fancy car, not your vacation spots, not the 13 kids if you sent out to private school, and not the
Hmm.
fancy degree that you could have got anyplace else or whatever. It's being you and being a good human being. Now,
Yeah.
you brought this up, and this is funny because you brought this up early in the conversation, and I wrote this down because you are such a powerful, um, I won't say female, you are a force to be reckoned with. You are someone that has a story that needs to be told, and you have a story that needs to be told over and over again. You need to do a TED Talk. I'm going to tell you that now. You need to do a TED Talk. People say that to me too, but I'm not ready to go through the process of being rejected 100 times in order to get one talk. But I am going to do it. But before we close, I have a couple of questions. When you speak to women, and I know there's some men are going to show up because women drag their husbands to your speeches. And if you could put a post-it note on the forehead of everyone listening to us right now, and there's almost 10,000 people that will hear this story,
Mhm.
and you want to leave them with one message. It could be a quote. It could be something you say every single day. You can talk about abundance. You can talk about resilience, delayed gratification, control your emotions, or whatever the case may be. What would you write on that post-it note and put on their forehead?
Mm. You're beautiful. I love that girl.
All right. You're beautiful. I love that girl. So I want to thank you. All right. And I also want to thank Mr. Poirier for referring you to me. The success of any podcaster or any business, whatever, is the power of referrals. I never know if I do a good job or not. Oprah Winfrey said that, no matter how successful a guest may be, when they went to break, they always whispered over, how did I do? Um, I'm not going to
Yeah.
ask that question because the fact that when someone refers me to someone else that comes on my show, that tells me um, how I'm doing, because evidently I did something right that someone wants to sit in the seat next to me. And I want to thank you. I'm very grateful. And for those of you that are in the marketing business, I would recommend, and I forgot to ask you, about like, comment, or share. You need to give, give, give before you ask for someone to give you something back. We're in a thank you economy, and we don't say thank you enough. We're in a delayed gratification. Thanks, Emilio, that's been my guest on here. Economy, for the simple fact is, things in life don't happen immediately. They happen when the universe thinks you're ready for it. Um, so I'm going to add you to my list of 100 successful, highly effective, successful people, not in your bank account, but in life itself, because you're pouring into others of my circle of friends. I am recognizing my circle of friends for who they are because they give back without asking for anything in return. They've overcome some stuff in life, and they share their stories. And it's kind of hard to come on and talk about things in the past that still are painful in the present. Even though we've moved on, we still move on with them. They don't leave us. They don't leave us. The only thing that we leave behind is how we dealt with it, because now we got a new perspective on how we deal with life. All right, and that becomes part of the story. And you have a beautiful story. And again, ladies and gentlemen, read her book. But I do have to ask you this one question. All right. And I'm going to repeat myself. All right. I'm probably the only podcaster that exists out of 2 million podcasters that can say this. And if someone wants to correct me, I'm open to be corrected, but I have searched. I've had 6 people to this day that I've asked this question, and 6 total strangers have answered the call to this question. And that's the reason why the power of my story is only beginning, because the power of the circle of friends I have are people that want to give back. So if you have one ask to give, one ask, no matter what it is, big or small, if you have one dream to come true, and again, my friends are not the type of people that drive by an accident, they stop and help. So I want you to ask big. I want you to take a couple seconds when I ask this. So if you have one ask or one dream to come true, what would that be?
I really want to see my book as a New York Times best-selling book. This is the thing that I can think of right now, because this is I really pour my heart there and really want to help people, not just telling stories, but telling exact techniques how you can build up life that you always wanted to have. And I want to help as many people as I can. And through book, it's very easy to do. It's manageable for me.
All right. And if you are in earshot of listening to this and you're driving into work or pulling into Starbucks or grocery shopping, or listening to this interview as you're getting the kids off to school and you're picking your feet back, or if you're on YouTube, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page, and you're experiencing meeting you virtually for the first time. I would say when we announced that her book is out, I'm going to suggest you read it, no matter male or female, because if you take the she out and put he, or however you identify yourself, you'll find out your story is being told by someone else. And you'll find out how she came out on the other side is the footprints in the sand that she's saying, don't follow me. She goes, walk alongside of me and create footprints and impression on your life of your own. her book is just a roadmap to a better place. You know, reaching out to her on social media is that direct connection to where not the final answer, but more answers to the questions that we have. Because I think in life we have more questions than answers. This is one of those resources you need to take full advantage of. If you ever have thought about hitting the lottery or getting a pot of gold or taking your investments and making it a double digit, make a phone call to Miss Siddick. All right. Reach out to her on social media, her Instagram page, go on the product description of this interview and reach out to her. So is there anything you want to leave our listeners with before we close?
I'm so grateful that you listened to us. You are with us till this exact point. I'm so thankful that you were here. And if you are hearing me right now, that I'm grateful at the end of this conversation, just leave a comment that you heard these words. It will be a special trigger for me. Very nice
All
one.
right. And if you have 500 friends or less, like, comment, and share this video. And I say to you, to grow, you must make some mistakes. We all have. To have confidence, you must address your anxieties. To forgive yourself, you must hold yourself accountable. As my guest said, you know, you have to admit that you are the victim. All right. And to learn, you must unlearn some stuff and just move on. And to exist, you have to show up as more. Understand the power of your words. These are notes from me, your mindset messenger. And again, thank you for coming on our show. And for our listeners, go to RMK Productions and Network, and you can like, comment, or share. And if you have a friend or someone that wants to be a guest on the show, go to www.rmkproductions.org and fill in the information. We would love to talk to you. And so, with that said, my grandfather has always said to me, and it's back here on my sign. It says, when you get to a point in life, you can help someone else out. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we're out and we'll fade to black. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Miss Sedek. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.